Imagine for a moment that you are a middle-aged police officer in a small, peaceful village in the South Korean countryside. You live a quiet life with your wife, mother-in-law, and adorable young daughter, Hyo-jin. It seems like an ordinary day when you receive a call to investigate a strange and unsettling crime scene. Little do you know, this is the beginning of a nightmare that will turn your life upside down. This is The Wailing, a terrifying film that dives deep into themes of belief, fear, and the unknown. It leaves you questioning everything. What is real? What is evil? And who can be trusted? Now let's walk you through the mystery of The Wailing. The film opens with Jong-goo, a police officer who is just doing his job. But what he finds at the crime scene is anything but ordinary. The suspect appears to be in some sort of trance, dazed and unresponsive. The house is in shambles, with blood and chaos everywhere. It's a scene straight out of a nightmare. As an officer, Jong-goo has seen his fair share of violence. But this feels different. The suspect's face is pale, his eyes are empty, and there's something deeply unsettling about the entire situation. Not long after, a sickness begins to spread throughout the village. People start acting violently, seemingly possessed by some unseen force. The townsfolk are left bewildered, and no one knows where this strange affliction is coming from. Is it a virus, a curse, or something much darker? The villagers, desperate for answers, begin to point fingers at a mysterious Japanese man who recently moved to the outskirts of the village. As fear and superstition take hold, rumors about this foreigner spread like wildfire. Soon the horror hits home for Jong-goo. His daughter Hyo-jin begins to show signs of the same strange affliction. Once sweet and innocent, she turns violent and unpredictable, covered in strange rashes and boils. She lashes out at her family, and Jong-goo's once peaceful life is shattered. Imagine watching your child slowly lose herself to some unseen force, becoming a stranger before your very eyes. As her father, Jong-goo is terrified. He's desperate for answers, but nothing makes sense. His mother-in-law insists that Hyo-jin is possessed by an evil spirit. But Jong-goo, a man of reason, struggles to accept this explanation. This is the central conflict of The Wailing. It's not just about external forces of evil, but about how far someone is willing to go when everything they believe is tested. Jong-goo is caught in a storm of fear and confusion, and he must decide what he's willing to believe in order to save his daughter. The movie beautifully showcases how belief, suspicion, and doubt can twist reality, especially when you're desperate to protect the ones you love. As the story progresses, we begin to see three main forces pulling at Jong-goo, each representing a different possible explanation for the terror unfolding around him. This triangle of supposition illustrates how Jong-goo is torn between these three conflicting perspectives. On one hand, there's the mysterious foreigner, who the villagers are convinced is behind the curse. On the other hand, there's a mysterious woman in white who seems to offer some strange kind of truth. And finally, there's a shaman, an expert in traditional rituals and exorcisms, whom Jong-goo turns to out of sheer desperation. Let's take a closer look at these three key figures. First, the foreigner becomes the focal point of their fear, and they feed off each other's paranoia. They claim to have seen him engaging in strange behaviors, like eating raw animal flesh or conducting disturbing rituals. These stories spread like wildfire, igniting even more fear among the villagers. And soon, Jong-goo himself starts to believe the worst about this man. His judgment is clouded not by evidence, but by hearsay and the collective anxiety that has gripped the village. This fear of the unknown is a theme that runs deep in this story, and the foreigner is the perfect target for it. In one particularly tense scene, Jong-goo and a group of his fellow officers decide to visit the foreigner's cabin, hoping to find some clue that will either confirm or dispel their suspicions. When they arrive, what they find only adds fuel to the fire. Inside the cabin, they discover a disturbing collection of photographs, images of the victims who have fallen ill with the strange disease that has been plaguing the village. It's as though the foreigner has been keeping a twisted record of the suffering, and this discovery terrifies Jong-goo and his companions. On top of that, they find a shrine, which seems to point to some kind of ritualistic practice. This only serves to deepen their fears, and Jong-goo becomes more convinced that the foreigner is involved in some dark, supernatural force that is causing all of this death and destruction. But as the film progresses, a critical question emerges. Is this man truly evil, or is he simply a misunderstood outsider? The film plays with this ambiguity, leaving both Jong-goo and the audience unsure of what to believe. The foreigner never fully explains himself when confronted, adding to the tension and the mystery surrounding his character. Jong-goo is torn between trusting his gut instinct, which tells him the foreigner is to blame, and the nagging feeling that perhaps he's been led astray by the village's collective hysteria. This uncertainty becomes a source of immense inner conflict for Jong-goo as he tries to make sense of the chaos around him. Then there's the woman in white. She is one of the most enigmatic figures in the story, appearing at key moments but never sticking around long enough to be fully understood. From the start, she seems to possess some kind of knowledge about the evil that has descended upon the village. In her first appearance, she approaches Jong-goo and warns him that the foreigner is the one responsible for everything that is happening. Her words are clear and direct, but there's something unsettling about the way she delivers them. It's as though she is hiding something, or perhaps she knows more than she's letting on. The woman in white never becomes part of the village's social fabric. Unlike the other characters, who are deeply embedded in the community's day-to-day life, she remains on the outskirts, an observer who is never fully acknowledged by anyone except Jong-goo. She operates in a kind of liminal space, existing between the known and the unknown, the real and the supernatural. Her appearances are always brief, and each time she vanishes just as quickly as she arrives, leaving Jong-goo with more questions than answers. Is she a force for good, warning him of the real danger? Or is she another piece of the puzzle designed to mislead him? This question lingers throughout the film, adding to the overall sense of dread and confusion. And finally, we come to the shaman. He enters the story when Jong-goo's daughter, Hyo-jin, falls ill, her behavior becoming more erratic and frightening as time goes on. Desperate to save his daughter, Jong-goo's mother-in-law insists they bring in a shaman, someone who can perform the necessary rituals to rid Hyo-jin of the evil spirit that seems to have taken hold of her. At first, Jong-goo is skeptical, but as his daughter's condition worsens, he gives in to the pressure. The shaman, with his flamboyant style and confident demeanor, seems to know exactly what to do. He performs elaborate, traditional rituals, assuring the family that he can banish the malevolent forces tormenting Hyo-jin. The shaman quickly gains credibility among the villagers, who trust in his knowledge of spiritual matters. He tells them that the foreigner is the source of the evil, and his diagnosis seems to align with what the villagers have already come to believe. For Jong-goo, the shaman represents a possible solution to his family's nightmare. But as the film progresses, doubts begin to surface. The shaman's methods are not only costly but increasingly suspect. He demands large sums of money in exchange for his services, and Jong-goo starts to wonder if the shaman is truly trying to help, or if he is merely exploiting the family's desperation for financial gain. The more we see of the shaman, the more his motives become questionable. Is he truly a healer, or is he just another charlatan preying on the villagers' fears? Jong-goo's uncertainty about the shaman mirrors his doubts about the foreigner and the woman in white. He is caught between competing narratives, each one promising to reveal the truth, but never fully delivering. The shaman's rituals, while dramatic and visually captivating, ultimately fail to provide clear answers, leaving Jong-goo more confused and desperate than ever. In the end, these three figures, the foreigner, the woman in white, and the shaman, represent different paths that Jong-goo could take in his quest for the truth. Each one offers a potential explanation for the strange and terrifying events unfolding in the village, but none of them provide a definitive answer. As the bodies continue to pile up and the sense of dread intensifies, Jong-goo is left to navigate a world where good and evil are no longer easily distinguishable. Every choice he makes is fraught with uncertainty, and the deeper he goes, the more he realizes that the truth may be beyond his reach entirely. As the movie reaches its climax, Jong-goo finds himself at a crossroads. One night, he wakes up to a series of frantic phone calls from the shaman. Hyo-jin has gone missing. Panicked, Jong-goo leaves the house to search for her. The shaman tells him that the woman in white is the true source of the evil, not the foreigner. Jong-goo is confused, torn between the conflicting advice of the shaman and the woman. In a final confrontation, the woman in white tells Jong-goo that he has sinned, and that is why his daughter has been possessed. She claims that if Jong-goo returns home before the third rooster crows, his entire family will be killed. She urges him to wait, but then the shaman calls again, warning Jong-goo that the woman is lying and that he must return home immediately if he wants to save his family. Jong-goo is caught in the ultimate moral dilemma. Should he trust the woman in white, who has appeared to guide him in the past, or the shaman, who claims to have the knowledge to save his daughter? Both seem to hold the key to his family's survival, but neither can be fully trusted. And this is where the brilliance of the Wailing shines through. It forces the audience to grapple with the same uncertainty that plagues Jong-goo. Who is telling the truth? What is the right choice? As viewers, we are left on the edge of our seats, trying to piece together the clues just as Jong-goo is. The tension is unbearable as we see him pulled in every direction by forces beyond his control. He wants to save his daughter more than anything in the world, but the path to doing so is shrouded in mystery and danger. In the end, The Wailing leaves us with more questions than answers. The film is not about providing a clear resolution, but about exploring the chaos of life, the fragility of belief, and the lengths we will go to in order to protect those we love. It is a story of uncertainty, where good and evil are not easily defined, and where the line between victim and villain is often blurred. To wrap it all up, The Wailing is more than just a horror movie. It is a masterfully crafted exploration of fear, belief, and the human experience. It shows us how, in times of crisis, we are often forced to confront our deepest fears and question everything we once held true. And perhaps the most terrifying thing of all is not the supernatural forces at play, but the realization that sometimes we cannot control the world around us. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into your favorite films. We'd love to hear your thoughts on The Wailing. What did you believe? Who did you trust? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning what you think you know.